We are on the third of our three-lesson series in Romans chapter 3. Today we're going to close out the chapter with verses 21 to 31. Let's pray. Dear God, precious Lord and Savior, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, help us to hear and obey. It's our simple request. And we believe you'll empower us for victory. Help us in Jesus' name. Amen. Verses 21 and 22, Romans chapter 3, 21 and 22. But now, apart from the law, the righteousness of God is revealed, being witnessed by the law and the prophets. This righteousness of God comes through faith in Jesus Christ to all and upon all who believe, for there is no distinction. We have been discussing the law versus grace. Remember that the law reveals God's holiness, righteousness, unmeetable good standards. And so it drives us to grace. It sometimes seems corny or silly when we use acronyms, but this one just seems appropriate. And so you take the word grace and you turn it into an acronym. The G is God's. The R is redemption. The A is at. C is Christ's. And the E is expense. And so grace is God's redemption at Christ's expense. Or as many of us have heard, it is the unmerited or unearned favor of God. You know, I remember a time when I was in Korea, and it was a Saturday, and so I had just decided as a single, relatively young man in my early mid-20s that I would go exploring a little bit. And so I went to a nearby island, and to give you an idea, it was just one that you walked over a small bridge to get to. It wasn't a matter of taking a boat or anything. And so I went onto the island and encountered a young man, and I say that he was about my age, and he just started talking with me as best he could and treated me to an expensive meal. And what was interesting is, look, my Korean wasn't that great. I would say it might be barely tourist level. I could certainly order food in a restaurant. I could ask for where the bathroom was and that type of thing. But, you know, if you had asked me to rate my Korean, I would have said it was rather poor. And yet this fellow's English was even worse than my Korean. And for no apparent reason, he decided to spend several hours with me. And he really, I mean, frankly, he treated me like royalty. I am not sure if this person was a believer, but the incident reminds me in a small way of God's grace. You know, it just happened. I was there, I was a foreigner, and he decided to kind of take me in for a while and give me some really nice treatment. God just offered me grace. And I said, yes, please. Hallelujah. Verse 23, Romans 3:23, perhaps the most famous verse in the book of Romans. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. We've said this repeatedly, but God does not favor Jews, Gentiles, whites, people of color, men or women. Truly, we are one in Christ Jesus. Verse 24, Romans 3:24. Being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is Christ Jesus. Here it is, our arrogant, exclusive doctrine. Jesus is the only way of salvation. Let me say that again. Jesus is the only way of salvation. Not Muhammad, not Buddha, not the Pope, and certainly no politician. Only Jesus saves. And you might ask, is it fair? Is it fair that Jesus is the only way? Is it fair that Christianity is the only religion that offers salvation? And the answer is yes and amen. After all, Islam requires that I learn Arabic if I want to be faithful to that religion. I actually have to learn a foreign language. I mean, what does that have to do with whether I'm righteous and close to God or not? But in order to be a faithful Muslim, I would actually have to learn Arabic to do it. Judaism doesn't even want me. And most foolish of all, Buddhism suggests that my salvation lies inside myself. If you've forgotten the temptation that the serpent, the devil, offered Eve in the garden, he said, you'll be like God, knowing good from evil. You can judge for yourself. You won't need God because you'll be like God. And here's Buddhism saying, look within yourself for all the answers. Look for the God within yourself. Lord, have mercy. Just give me Jesus. Verses 25 and 26, Romans 3, 25 and 26. Whom God has set forth to be a propitiation through faith in his blood for a demonstration of his righteousness, because in his forbearance God had passed over the sins previously committed, to prove his righteousness at this present time, so that he might be just and be the justifier of him who has faith in Jesus. Jesus paid for our sins by dying. If we have faith, if we believe, we can be forgiven. Why? Because of God's forbearance, his mercy. By granting us mercy and grace, God proves his righteousness. For only the righteous can forgive the unrighteous. You know, I look at somebody who tried to imitate this, and that's Joseph Smith. He exemplifies imitated grace giving. He is offered as the prophet of Mormonism, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, if you prefer. He prophesied, one example is that his followers must not drink coffee or tea. His pronouncement is called the word of wisdom. Further, he died for his faith, being killed by a mob. Yet, his own church produced a documentary that admitted that Joseph Smith's father rebelled against the churches of his day. He said they fought too much over doctrine. So when Joseph went to pray about which church to join, we understand that he was already poisoned towards all of them by his Father. And again, this isn't something I read in a book about Mormons. This is a film that was produced by the LDS Church. They were very frank about Joseph Smith's father's rebellion and antagonism towards the churches of his day. And sure enough, Joseph Smith claims that God told him that all churches were corrupt and instead he should start his own. To this day, they demand to be called Christians, but insist that the grace, full God has prepared a special level of heaven just for them. All the other Christians and the other religions will be consigned to a lower heaven, one the Father will not visit. And so for them, the highest grace comes not from Jesus, but from allegiance to Joseph. And again I say, just give me Jesus. Verse 27, Romans 3:27. Where is boasting then? It is excluded by what law? Of works? No, but by the law of faith. Let me read that one more time. Where is boasting then? It is excluded. By what law? Of works? No, but by the law of faith. If I am saved, how can I brag? I can't. I want to, but I can't. Christian faith is humble faith. Those who are triumphalist and prideful are being most unchristian about their Christianity. I'll never forget the humility of the Reverend Billy Graham. He preached to stadiums with tens of thousands of people in them. He was called America's preacher. He spoke to and with presidents. Nevertheless, in this very area on a local talk show, when he was about to do one of his crusades in the Tacoma Dome, he was asked by a reporter what his salary was. And he said, $57,000 a year. No secrecy, no pastoral shield, no hesitation. $57,000 a year. Frankly, he could have paid double that, and there would have been no hint of scandal. It just goes to show humility can be learned, but it tends to come without thought as something deeply internal. And brothers and sisters, we need this. Verse 28, Romans 3:28. Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the works of the law. Yes, we must do good works, but out of gratitude, not servitude. We do not appease God. We appreciate Him. Sadly, I have to ask, how many self-righteous, so-called Christians will spend eternity in hell? Verses 29 to 31. Romans 3, 29 to 31. Is He the God of the Jews only? Is He not also the God of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles also. Seeing it is one God who shall justify the circumcised by faith and the uncircumcised through faith. Do we then make the law void through faith? God forbid. We establish the law. Instead, we establish the law. Once again, the law shows us our need for Jesus. We don't abandon the law, but rather look to Jesus who fulfilled it. Further, We walk in Christ's righteousness, not to earn salvation, but out of gratitude for God's mercy and grace freely given. So, if we proclaim Jesus, our lives should show it. So what have we said? Today, rather than relist all of the main lessons, let's consider the key. We are saved by grace through faith so that no one may boast. Ephesians 2, 8-10 says this. Ephesians 2, 8-10. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not of works, so that no one should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand, so that we should walk in them. So, let us boast, but let our boasting be in Christ Jesus. Amen. Amen. Let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we glory. We boast in our salvation through faith in Jesus Christ. We've not earned it. We couldn't make it. We couldn't do it. But you brought it to us. You offered it to us freely. You created us in your image. You allowed us the freedom to walk away and wallow in sin. And then in our darkness and in our misery, you provided the way of escape. You provided Jesus. Hallelujah. We receive Jesus into our hearts. We receive the forgiveness of sins. And we receive the empowerment for holiness and for witness. And we give you praise and thanksgiving in Jesus' name. Amen. Brothers and sisters, look forward to seeing you next week as we begin our journey in Romans chapter 4. God bless you real good.